Ladies and gentlemen, how's it going? Once again, I'm Nev from Nev's Tech Bits. Don't worry, ma'am, I am from the internet, coming to you live from my basement fortress of seclusion. I could not afford my own ivory tower. Now, I'm sure you guys know the story of an ivory tower. A bunch of rich people who are leaders built a giant ivory tower so they could look out over everything and they could see everything, but they didn't actually understand anything. I'm pretty much like the exact opposite of that. I've gone into my basement and I searched for the truth on the internet and just hope to God it's reality. Well, what I want to talk about today is problems in the supply line. Now, I love learning about China. I love reading about China. I love reading about what society in China's like. And man, the Great Leap Forward really changed everything for China. Chairman Mao's Great Leap Forward went like this. Revolution came and all the farmers' fields were thrown in together. And Mao said that everyone was going to work on the farms. For the first season, everything was fine. Everybody got as much rice as they wanted. The next season, not so much. A lot of people died from starvation. The people that survived the starvation, though, went on to throw down babies and throw into the Great Leap Forward. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, industrialization. While Canada... My kids are having a fun time upstairs. While Canada is the breadbasket of the world, China is the manufacturing of the world. Really cheap labor. And slave labor sometimes, let's face it. Anyways, we're having supply line issues now because the children of the people that were part of Mao's leap forward, these millennials don't like the life that they have anymore. And who can frickin' blame them? I see millennials these days who feel the exact same way over here in the westernized nation. But over in China, these millennials were raised under the one-child policy, and that meant that everybody looked after these kids. You had to look after your kid, because your kid is your future. Your kid is your retirement. If you marry a Chinese individual, you gotta make sure that you like their family, because you're marrying their family. I've heard so many stories about westernized people marrying people from China, only later to find out that this new spouse has used the husband or wife's name to apply for green cards for people from China. Of course, this doesn't happen all the time. Not all Chinese people. But in China, family is super important. So anyways, these little emperors, as they're called, grow up and they don't have the hard life from Chairman Mao's leap forward. And something has come about that really affects the supply line. Now, in North America, we definitely see there's a lot of people who have decided to get different jobs because the soul-killing job that they had just doesn't kill people's souls and touch them in the way that it used to. For some reason, they want better jobs. No idea why. Anyway, in China, there's this new thing called laying flat. Tang, píng, I think it's called. Some dude just got onto the internet and wrote that life is frickin' hard. I mean, in China, it definitely is hard. You get your, 996, 9 to 9, and 6 days a week. You work 9 hours a day, 6 days a week. And you'd be happy for that kind of stuff. I'm sure everyone that knows anything about Foxconn can remember the suicide nets that they had to put up around their buildings to keep people from killing themselves. So these new kids growing up, these little emperors, they look out on what they have. They look at the world that tells them to have kids early, take on horrible debt for housing that just goes back to the government every 80 years, and to work. And people are just frickin' giving up. I think they're giving up over here too. But in China, it's a bit of a supply line issue. All of a sudden, people with factories, they can't find people to do the work. They're literally going out with signs and holding these signs up to try to get people to come and work. Now, the reason that this is tech related is because all of this tech gets manufactured in China. And we all save a whole lot of money because of that. I mean, any television you can get these days, you can get usually a 42-inch for $150 Canadian. Try getting that 30 years ago. You would not be able to get that deal. Okay, when I was a kid, it was a huge investment when you got a TV. You only got one, so you had to make sure it was the right frickin' one. These days, the things are disposable. You can get them anywhere for next to nothing, right? So the supply line, semi-capacitors, we're losing a lot of those. Manufacturers, auto parts. I got a lot of auto parts factories around me, guys, and I can tell you a lot of them are only working 3 days a week, which is pretty crazy. There are cars that traditionally always had digital dashboards that have, well, this model year have decided to go back to analog for obvious reasons. I always thought it was kind of wrong that cars went from their timing systems to sensor systems with computer. I mean, putting a computer in a car is so unsexy. I'm sure you can play great MP3s and furry prawns, though. But the supply line is shot, and it's really affecting tech, especially when it comes to entertainment. Now, the crazy thing about entertainment being affected is that when the pandemic started, the auto parts manufacturers stopped ordering their semiconductors, and the entertainment sector stepped in, and even the entertainment sector is still having problems getting what they need. Our supply lines have changed. We as individuals have changed. Let's face it, millennials might not have had it easier, but money was there more. Okay, so I myself, my father was always like, I worked for everything I got and I never got any help with anything. And then it turns out later on in life, I find out he was basically given 2 cars. One was a Triumph, a TR3, before he even made it to university. Now the money he paid for university, he had that paid off way before any one of us could have it paid off. But it's a lifestyle change. People in China don't want to be our underdogs anymore. They don't want to be our slaves anymore, I should say. I mean, who would? Who can blame them? It's a real change in the way things are going, and it's all because of the supply chain. It's all because of COVID. Anyways, I should probably go upstairs and be a parent again. Have a good one, folks. Take care of each other, will you?